So, welcome Rotarians and guests to the most fun Rotary Club, the Rotary Club of Little Rock. Before we get started today, I'd like to invite Amy Moix up to the podium to lead us in the five-way test pledge and prayer, and Greg McCarroll, who will be doing guest introductions, and then Elizabeth Cloxton, our membership recruitment chair, will introduce our newest member. So, Amy.
Good afternoon. Please join me in stating the five-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Is it fun? Will you join me in an attitude of prayer, please? We give thanks for the cities of the earth, especially our city of Little Rock. May our ties to one another be bonds of mutual regard and respect for our civic life. May we have honest and able leaders. May we use our resources to eliminate poverty, prejudice, and oppression, that peace may prevail with righteousness and justice with order. And may the diversity within our community reflect the whole human race, that we all may find our belonging and fulfillment. All this we seek in gratitude for our community and the gift of this day. Amen. Will you join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, undivided, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. We have several guests today, and starting with our visiting Rotarian, we have Michelle Hill from the Maumelle Rotary Club. Thank you. And then the visiting Rotarians, if please stand, hold your applause, and we'll recognize everybody at once. We have Charlie Krebs here, Jordan Beard's guest. We have Brad Sims as a guest of Billy Roebeck. We have Addison Freeman, a guest of Chris Bond. We have James Griffin, a guest of Matt Olson. Brandon Sheard, a guest of Libby Sheard. And Ashley Carper is a guest of Jerry Demereau. Thank you. Welcome.
Good afternoon. It is once again my pleasure to introduce a new member to our club. We are pleased to welcome Lori Trogdon to Club 99. She is sponsored by Brad Burleson. She has a BA in Political Science from UCA, a Master of Science in Operations Management from U of A, and is an American Society of Association Executives Certified Association Executive. Lori serves as the president and CEO of the Arkansas Bankers Association, where she leads the association's strategic initiatives, including planning, member services, governance, and legislative affairs at both the state and federal level. As you will see from her list of other organizations, we are so excited that she has time to join us as well, because she is the immediate past chairman of the board for the Graduate School of Banking at Madison, Wisconsin, and a trustee for the Graduate School of Banking at LSU. She also serves on the Economics Arkansas Executive Committee, the Arkansas Capital Corporation Executive Committee, Arkansas State Chamber Board, Arkansas Society of Professional Lobbyists Board, State Alliance of Banking Association Executives Committee, American Bankers Association Bank PAC Board of Directors, and the American Society of Association Executives Government Relations Committee. For fun, which I'm not sure when she has time to do that, she enjoys traveling and spending time with family and friends. Please join me in welcoming Lori Trogdon to Club 99.
Well, thank you, Amy and Greg and Elizabeth and Lori. Welcome to Club 99. We're going to find you some time for fun. So, but I'm so glad you're here. All right. So I wanted to make a few announcements before we get into today's program. There is so much happening in October outside of our Tuesday meetings. So I'm going to tell you about a couple of ones that are coming up, but be sure to check out your newsletter that you get each week. Be sure to follow us on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. We're putting out reminders of all the things coming out on those portals. So there's plenty of places for you guys to find the details and join us. So first up is I want to do a shout out to Patricia's Dunbar Middle School team. Tonight is the tailgate. Grill Master Don Cole is going to be firing up the grill, and we're going to do hamburgers and hot dogs for all the students and their families before their home game today at Scott Field. So we've got some of those committee members coming tonight, but if you want to roll by and see the action, we're starting at 5, so that will be a fun time. Also, we are officially unveiling our mural that you see each week at the end of the meeting, and that'll be in the River Market. It's on the side of the River Market parking garage, right down from Sticky Fingers. We're going to be doing that next Wednesday, October 11th at 10:30. Club 99ers Mayor Scott and Bruce Moore and Gabe Holstrom with the Downtown Partnership will be there to help us do that. We'll make some remarks, and Jessica Jones, who is the artist, will join us. So that will be a really fun, great time for a celebration of the mural that we've added to the River Market. Very exciting. And then finally, Women of Rotary, please don't forget to RSVP for the road trip to Des Arc. You guys, we're taking a bus to the Guess & Co. Christmas warehouse. You do not want to miss it. Trust me, you will load that bus up with your stuff, I'm sure, and it will be a fun time. So be sure to RSVP in your link in the newsletter. All right, so for our guests today, our theme this year is the power of fun. So each week we just kind of talk through a little tip about having more fun in your life. So how are we doing on our not to-do list? I hope from last week that you guys kind of started making your not to-do list and that's growing. Hopefully you've been able to kind of eliminate some things to make some room for fun in your life. Today, I wanted to talk about this concept of Sunday neurosis, which is what Viktor Frankl in 1946 named the phenomenon, and I quote, of the kind of depression that afflicts people who become aware of the lack of content in their lives when the rush of the busy week is over and the void within themselves becomes manifest. So basically, what Catherine Price says in the book, The Power of Fun, is when we go, when we put to work to make the space and really stick to our not to-do list, then the reward is more time of the things that we love. But if we have no idea what those things are, we are kind of left with a lot of angst. So it can easily happen to those of us who stay very busy with everyone else's passions that we no longer know how to fill our own time. And in all of the issues with screen time and that whole desire to be on the phone because it's a dopamine hit, all those things that fill voids, if we cut that out, then we start feeling a little bit disoriented and empty when all the constant busyness and the distractions and the stimulation go away. But it's important that we learn to sit and be present with this discomfort, because that is the trick in moving through it to get to a better place. It's never easy to tackle bad habits, as we all know, but as with anything of breaking any kind of bad habit, there's going to be discomfort. So the first step in breaking the bad habits of busyness and distraction will be hard, but in that discomfort is how we really begin to figure out how we want to spend our time and what really brings us joy. So first step, build those not to-do lists. Remember, when we are obsessed with productivity, we end up with no hobbies. And when we're consumed by the pursuit of a lot of connections, we actually have no time for friends. So do the hard work, make the space for more fun. Catherine even recommends writing yourself a permission slip, which I kind of love, and putting it somewhere that you can see every day. The permission to really think about and prioritize your own fun without feeling selfish or irresponsible, which sometimes people can feel like that. So first step, again, Create that not to-do list. Second step, work through the discomfort of not having every second of the day tied to something. It's going to be hard and it's a journey with a lot of reflecting, but use that discomfort to move to the third step, which is really the fun part, and that's figuring out the activities that really do bring the fun factor for you. It's going to be different for everybody in this room. You know, I'm a roller coaster junkie. I know some of you are not, so you're going to have to figure out what are the things that bring me joy, what are the things that bring me fun, and we'll get more into that as the year goes on. So let's take a moment to see which member we're going to feature today having fun. I think you're going to love this one. So.
Hi, my name is Adrienne Collins, and I work for a wonderful company called Lovesac, not Love Shack, but Lovesac. I am their Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and People Strategy. So Lovesac is a fully sustainable modular furniture company. We have furniture that's designed for life, made of fully recyclable materials, so when you move, our furniture moves with you. I like to do a lot of things for fun. I mean, I've kind of crowned myself as the fairy godmother of fun, but I would say my favorite thing is singing. I love doing karaoke. I'm known to kind of be the life of the party and get the party started. And so whenever I go somewhere, if I don't have a purse big enough, I normally have this in my purse or it's in my car. So if I'm in an environment where I'm like, this is kind of dull and I can actually pull this out and get the party started, I will do that. Many, many, many moons ago, I used to sing professionally. I was signed by a record label and did a lot of touring. I actually missed my senior prom because I was touring across the US. So music has always been my passion since I was 2 years old. I like to sing everything. I don't really have a particular genre that I go to. I've even busted out a couple of raps here and there. Start rapping or singing country music, which I love Chris Stapleton. He's like one of my ultimate faves. And so sometimes I will sing some of his music. I would say my go-to karaoke song is Killing Me Softly, not the Roberta Flack version, although that's a wonderful version, but I like the more crowd pleaser, which is the one by the Fugees. Strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly with his song, telling my whole life with his words, killing me softly.
That was awesome, Adrienne. Y'all, I want to go karaoke with her. Who wants to go karaoke with Adrienne? Okay, that's the next social event. We're doing karaoke with you. Amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. It was so great. All right, well, now I would like to ask Club 99er Stacy Wilson up to introduce our fabulous program today. So, Stacy.
Adrienne, that's fabulous. I will not be singing. I will be killing you all quietly if I do. So, welcome everybody. My name is Stacy Wilson. Again, I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for the Little Rock Regional Chamber, and I'm actually thrilled to be able to introduce today's panel on the state of Little Rock Metro's commercial real estate. So bear with me. These guys are super impressive. So I'm going to go through their bios really quickly. And I want to start with our moderator for the discussion, Lance Turner. Lance is the editor of Arkansas Business. He joined the publication in May '99, an online editor from 2000 to 2001, overseeing content for the Arkansas Business Publishing Group sites, including arkansasbusiness.com, where he edited the Daily Report e-newsletter and wrote the Daily Morning Roundup e-newsletter. He appears daily on KTHV Channel 11, providing business news reports on the CBS affiliate morning show, Wake Up Central. Next, we have Hank Kelly. In 1984, Hank Kelly joined the commercial real estate firm, which would later become Kelly Commercial Partners, where he currently serves as Chief Executive Officer, Executive Broker, and Partner. Kelly has earned distinction from several professional organizations for his knowledge, commitment, and professionalism in his field, including Counselor of Real Estate and Certified Property Manager, manager, from the Institute of Real Estate Management. He is also a member of the Society of Industrial and Office Realtors, the leading global professional office and industrial real estate association, which represents today's most knowledgeable, experienced, and successful commercial real estate brokerage specialist. He led his firm to earn the state of Arkansas's only membership in Chainlinks, the #1 retail advisors and brokerage network in North America, serving premier realtors, landlords, and investors since 1979. Next, we have Lauren Atkins. She serves as Managing Director of Haybar Properties, LLC. Haybar Properties, LLC buys, improves, manages, and sells commercial real estate. Lauren is the lead agent for the company's acquisitions and sales and also oversees the management of the company's portfolio of commercial properties, mainly in Little Rock, and concentrated in the Soma, East Village, and Argenta areas of downtown Little Rock and North Little Rock. She also represents third-party clients with their commercial real estate needs. Clark Irwin began his commercial real estate career in brokerage at Irwin Partners in 2011 after graduating from the University of Arkansas with a Bachelor of Science degree in business with a focus on finance and real estate. He joined the Colliers team in 2017 when Irwin Partners merged with the firm and was named a Colliers shareholder in 2023. Clark specializes in office and industrial sales and leasing. He also handles acquisition and disposition, tenant representation, brokerage, and market analysis. Clark is a member of the Society of Industrial and Office Realtors and is a certified commercial investment member. One more. So last but certainly not least, we have Jason Parker, is the Vice President with Cushman & Wakefield Sage Partners based in Little Rock. Jason has been with Sage for nearly 7 years and serves clients in a wide range of specialties, including tenant and landlord representation and buying and selling property in such categories as general or medical office, industrial, retail, multifamily, and investment properties. Jason works across the entire state of Arkansas with a primary focus on Central Arkansas and has represented clients on significant transactions, including projects for Amazon, Fiocchi USA, Ortho Arkansas, McFarland Eye Care, Potlatch Deltic, Arkansas Virtual Academy, and a dozen of other clients. So thank you so much for being here today. Lance, I'm going to turn it over to you.
A lot happening in all of those sectors. We have experts here who are specializing in each of those sectors, and we're going to go through each of those to kind of get the story of kind of what's happening, because it's an interesting time, I think, for real estate. A lot of different forces at play. A lot of different habits are changing, and how workers come to the office or don't. A lot of things in the financial end of these businesses. A lot of high interest rates bringing complications probably to things, but maybe some opportunities as well. So we're going to touch on each of those topics. First, though, I'm going to go to each of you and just kind of talk about kind of what part of commercial real estate sort of has your focus at the moment, and what your assessment of the market is right now, and kind of why you think it is that way. And Hank, I think I will start with you.
Thank you, Lance. First, I'll start off by telling you that I immediately followed Natalie's lead whenever she introduced the power of fun to us this year as part of her agenda, and I read the book and decided to resign. Seriously, thank you, Natalie, for that book. It's really good, and one of the things that I would say, we are focused on a couple of projects in particular that we're trying to bring out of the ground and fight wind and rain and hail and other things. One of those is Breckenridge Village, and Brandon Sheard, who is here in our office, is very helpful in that project. But we're focused on that, and we're focused on finding good office users that are long-term tenants for the buildings that we have. And that's a summary of really where our focus is, Lance.
Lauren?
Thank you for having me. And I would like to echo what Hank said. I'm also trying to focus on filling our vacancies throughout downtown Little Rock right now. I think we're seeing a little bit of office vacancies becoming more intense, but I'm also seeing an influx in industrial needs right now. I've got several industrial projects that I'm working on, and I don't see that industrial is going to come down anytime in the near future. I also think there's new developments coming to downtown Little Rock and Argenta that are all very exciting, and I think we're going to see some exciting projects completed in the next 12 to 24 months.
Very good. Jason?
Yeah, same with these guys, and also thanks for having us. A lot of focus in industrial right now. That really piggybacks off of what happened starting around 2020 with Amazon coming to the market. If you think about it, in 2020, Amazon occupied 0 square feet in the state of Arkansas. Yesterday in the Arkansas business, they were listed as one of the top 10 employers in the state of over 5,000 employees. And that's through about 5 million square feet that they've built and leased over the last 3 years. So it's there's a lot of trajectory in that direction. We've got several other big distribution industrial projects we're working on, but we do everything to have several retail projects. I'm really bullish on retail right now. There's a lot of activity in that space. Restaurants are really looking to expand. There's a lot of focus on that, and in medical, there's still a ton of opportunity in medical. So really spending a lot of time on that as well.
Clark?
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. Great event, and Adrian, bravo. Amazing singing. Maybe we can get you and Hank together to sing later. No, we're focused. We're focused a lot on the same things here. On the office side, I'm mainly office and industrial. On the office side, we're in this wait and see game of kind of the come back from home, work from home. We see different parties from different parts of the world doing different things. So juggling that as well as the construction cost of making our best decisions for our owners. And on the industrial side, to echo everybody would say they've industrial is it seems to be still hot. I think we're still in the 3 to 4% vacancy rate, which is an all-time low. At some point, it probably will level out. Kind of starting to see a little bit signs of that, but it's still relatively high, and we've even got some new developments in the works. So,
very cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about, so when I read about commercial real estate nationally, because I'm reading the Wall Street Journal and all the other things that you guys are probably reading too, I'm picking up on that there's some kind of reckoning coming for commercial real estate over the next year and a half, mainly in bigger cities. I think we could all agree, because we're seeing stories come out of the coast, San Francisco, New York City, as leases come due and all of these tenants renegotiate. So is there a version of that story playing out here in Central Arkansas, or maybe how is Arkansas different from what we're seeing in those areas? And we'll start with Hank.
Thank you, Lance. First thing I would tell you is a market the size of Little Rock is considered a third-tier tertiary market for capital. And in some cases, that helps us because we don't have the bubbles that other markets have. So if I'm in Boston, if I'm in San Francisco, capital flows into those markets to build whatever they think they can build and speculate for growth in the future. Little Rock is much different. The speculative fever that comes into a market the size of Little Rock is dampened. It's tempered, and it's tempered by the institutional money that makes judgments every day as to whether or not to deploy capital. So that's working in our favor now, Lance, in that we're not as overbuilt as some markets. Sure, there's been retraction. There has been changes in the way people work. But ladies and gentlemen, that's changing back in the other direction. Where will we settle? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is the new work week. Yep. Part of it Monday, part of it Friday. So the good news for office landlords is if you want to have an office space that's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you need about the same space that you would have otherwise. You might retract back a little bit, but Little Rock's favored in that we have a wonderful transportation system. We have a freeway system that overplays the size of our market. So you can commute from 40, 50 miles into downtown Little Rock or West Little Rock a lot easier than you can in one of the major markets. So our properties are more accessible than others, and it takes away the drama of in larger markets where people only want to lease in the suburban areas. And we'll get into the downtown area later, but that would be my summary of it. It's not nearly as bad as the media plays it.
Jason, what's your assessment?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add beyond what Hank said. Little Rock, a lot of the development or most of the development here is user driven, so it's not speculative, which will lead to those sorts of bubbles. We don't see the big highs. We also don't see the big lows when the markets sort of swing. So we're seeing a lot of a good amount of new office activity. It does seem to have picked up. Everything really seems to have picked up in the last 4 to 6 weeks, which I think is a good sign for the future.
There was a story in the Wall Street Journal today talking about this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday phenomenon. They were able to track, I think in New York City, a security company that handles the card swipes for entering a building. I guess they share this data, and you could see the lull on Mondays, the uptick in the middle of the week, and then on Fridays it's down again because people's habits have changed with remote work. So let's talk about remote work and sort of what the impact has been here post-COVID specifically. Hank, I mean, how is it, you've said that the space need is probably the same, or maybe it's not, but what kind of space are people needing? Are the types of spaces changing because of remote work?
And I would yield to Clark some on this as well, but what we see is the need for more flexibility, the need for landlords to have more space that people can rent in shorter term lease arrangements. But Clark, what are you experiencing there?
Nailed it on the head. We've had landlords that, having considered these shorter term renewals in the past, that it's just becoming more and more the norm, especially with national companies requesting 3-year renewals, even 1-year kick the can deals to evaluate where they are. We see a lot where decisions are being made from out of state national groups to go to a hybrid environment. When we go and talk to the local groups here that are actually in the office, that's the last thing that they'd want to do. But decisions are being made, over their head to saying, we've been in 5,000 feet, we've got 6 people in here now,
Right.
We need to do hybrid. Now, on the flip side of that, we have seen existing tenants take advantage of adjoining spaces that usually would not be available. And we've had different certain groups expand and grow. I think what else adds to the difficulty of making new leases now is just, and we may get into this later, is the construction cost with that of making new deals. Construction costs you could be giving $5 a year per year of the lease. That touches maybe half of the TI that's needed on spaces that need work. So those are some of the obstacles right now that landlords are having to go through, and I think they're really having to get creative, whether with a expanded tenant improvement package or building out the space, putting more money into it, or a free rent package along those lines. And what we've had some success doing is having spaces readily available that are in good shape. Specking out some spaces, and when people can go through, it's not the hurdle of building it out. It's already ready to roll. So,
Are the amenities changing when they are going to build those out and they are decided to make those investments? Are amenities changing as to what offices need?
I think it's a lot dependent on the type of use. We still see some needing of open uses. Right. And then we've had some that have gone the other direction since 2020 of needing the private office
Right.
layout, which has kind of reverted back and forth through my career. So I think it's tenant specific, building specific, but I echo what the panel says is Little Rock is so much more insulated than some of these other markets that are being talked about on the national side.
Mm-hmm. Jason, you have any thoughts about any of that or no? Well, let's talk more then specifically about downtown. And downtown Little Rock and North Little Rock downtowns are key drivers to a place's economic success. And so I just wonder what everyone's assessment of our local downtowns are and what's working and maybe what's missing. Hank?
Well, when you define downtown, we have sprawl within our own downtown. So think about our downtown. We have Soma, we have East Village, we have Argenta. Maybe we can't call that our own, but in the regional standpoint, it is our own. We have the CBD area of Little Rock. The thing I'm so happy about is the downtown partnership and the city board members have came together and decided to hire a professional firm, Sasaki, out of San Francisco, and they are in the market now. The city authorized payment, you all, of a tremendous fee, which will be earned for their involvement and engagement in the community. And we'll have everyone in this room will be approached at some point to give an opinion by this consultant about what the future of downtown Little Rock needs to look like. I couldn't be more bullish on the way people are working to try to make something happen. There's a lot to overcome, but understand our downtown in Little Rock is made up of about 5 sub-downtowns, as opposed to Argenta, which is one downtown area, tight-knit, well done. And it's our objective in the downtown partnership to make all of downtown Little Rock look like Argenta in many ways. So I'm very bullish on downtown.
So it starts with this survey, and then what are the next steps to that?
Implementation. The survey is worthless if it goes on someone's table and sits there without anything being done. But when you engage the number of people that Sasaki is engaging, everyone will have some ownership in this plan. At least that's our goal on the downtown partnership.
Lauren, you work in Soma and some other, I believe over here too, East Village, is that correct? Or is it?
Yeah, we're kind of all in the downtown markets. And I'd like to echo what Hank said. I don't think downtown Little Rock or Argenta, downtown North Little Rock, I don't think we're suffering nearly as much as what other downtowns in major cities are across the U.S. I think we still have people who are wanting to be in our downtown. You know, just last year we had 2 towers exchange hands, and that just proves that we still have developers and property owners wanting to spend and invest their money in downtown Little Rock. Our towers, you know, I know we have some office vacancies right now, but they're still housing major office tenants, major players that are key to our downtown success. And just a few months ago, Moses Tucker announced that they were doing a redevelopment of the Boyle building. It's been sitting there vacant and an eyesore on Main Street for many years. So we're real excited to be part of that as well and try to better all parts of downtown. And I think it also proves testament as to how many apartments that we've built over the last few years in all areas. That just proves that we have people that want to live that urban lifestyle and that they want to live in downtown Little Rock. And I think Soma and Petaway are 2 great examples on how this formula works. Soma provides retail and shopping and the fun. And Petaway is built, you know, there's so many new single family homes being built right now and people are flocking to them. And so those 2 neighborhoods really work. And we just need to keep expanding that into all areas of downtown.
Feels like a lot of young people are gravitating to Soma too. Young people in our office even have just purchased a
Yeah.
home there. It seems to be kind of one of the hot places or one of the cool places, or I'm not hot or cool, so I don't know, but that's what I hear. That's what they tell me.
We agree.
Yes. Well, let's talk a little bit then about interest rates. Not to be too big of a downer, but interest rates are high right now, as everyone knows. So how is that playing out in commercial real estate, Lauren? And I'll start with you.
Obviously, we are all feeling that high interest rates right now, and interest rates really affect commercial real estate in a few ways. The main thing is property values are generally determined by how much income a property can produce. And right now, if you were to buy some commercial real estate, you're hit in 2 ways. You're hit, one, you're paying a lot more in interest than you would have a few years ago. And 2, your operating expenses are generally higher because of all the inflation we're currently experiencing in the economy. So then you've got this building that its net operating income is less than what it could be or should be a few years ago, which is making it harder to secure financing and complete these purchases. I think we're seeing these high interest rates on these commercial buildings throughout Little Rock. When these loans come up for renewal and their rates reset, it might force some people to become sellers. You know, they might be over collateralized and their property's value's gone down, the bank's wanting more capital put in. And so while sure that's probably not a good thing, on the bright side is that those type of opportunities could provide more inventory to the market, and then those sellers would be provided with liquidity, and buyers will have more opportunity to purchase, which we have not seen a lot of inventory lately.
Clark, do you have thoughts on that and how it's
Yeah.
hitting industrial
Sure.
or anywhere
Just on
else?
the interest rates? Yeah.
Right.
As a whole, we really have seen it more on our development side, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
when we're underwriting deals for clients. When you're looking at it 18, 24 months ago, we were, able to be a little bit more aggressive when the rates were at, 4 or 5%. Now at 7, 8, that looks different on Excel, on anything that we do. So we have seen on the investment side, some stay on the sidelines and wait to see. I will say on the owner occupant side, on the larger deals, it hasn't seemed to affect owner occupants needing to make the move, needing to make a change. On the investment side, and I saw some bankers in here, I know these are conversations that we've all had, having to go and raise more money for some of these investments, changing that loan to value ratio and make it a little more comfortable for everybody. But it's definitely affecting the investment sales portion of our local business.
How does that play out in office, Hank? It probably affects what people are going to do with their space when they get it, or whether they're going to leave or stay or go. Or...
I think it goes back to what your debt structure is on the buildings that you have. If someone wound up with really high leverage on a deal they did 3 or 4 years ago, and that loan is maturing anytime in the near future, hopefully they've got some reserves because they'll be given a choice, pay down on the debt. They won't be given the choice of renewing the loan under the stated loan amount at the current, or the former interest rate. Right. That's not going to be on the table.
Those days are over.
That's over.
Jason, let's talk a little bit more about industrial space. We've seen a lot of new construction in the last few years, as we talked about, warehouse space, distribution space here in Central Arkansas. We talked about Amazon, we got Lowe's, we got Tractor Supply, we got Dollar General. A lot of these entities, needing space, I guess because of changing shopper habits in some respects in terms of needing warehouse space for all this stuff they're shipping all over the place. So what trends are we seeing now with warehouse and distribution here in Central Arkansas?
Yeah, those are great projects. I mean, that's going to add 3.6 million square feet of new distribution facilities right here in Central Arkansas. And it's created a lot of demand, a lot of pressure on the existing inventory that's out there. And there's just, as Clark mentioned earlier, there just isn't much. We're in the kind of 3% vacancy rates. That's had a big effect on lease rates. Over the last year, lease rates are up 10%, 30% over the last 3 years. Those are big numbers. And, as far as speculative development, we're involved in a project in the port. It's 537,845 square feet. Class A, it's the best building in Arkansas. 2 years ago, that building would have been fully leased before we had a roof on it. Construction completed 2 months ago, and we're still looking for a tenant. That's a pretty big deal. So if anyone has a tenant that needs 537,845 square feet,
It got 45.
come see me.
Mine's only 843.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, it's a great project, and we would have thought there would be, that developer bought another 30 acres behind their property for another development to come right behind it, and obviously that's not started yet. We're waiting on this one. So there's been a big change there, just a shift in the development and demand. Everyone's just kind of pausing right now, just to kind of see. We've had a decent amount of interest in that project specifically, but no one ready to go yet.
So, why this area? Why Central Arkansas, do you think? I mean, what made it attractive for these? I mean, Amazon certainly showed up, and there was that.
Well,
But
everyone's
what
trying
else?
to get, a lot of these guys are just trying to get closer to their customers. Right. But you have, obviously the intersection of Interstate 30 and Interstate 40. You've got the river. You've got a really hungry economic development group. These guys we've got a great team in Central Arkansas that's really been aggressive trying to go out and help bring some of these national players to this market.
Do you want to say? Yep.
And just to add on to that, it's exciting to have new development in the industrial sector that we haven't had in quite some time. And we look up, we've got, a 200,000 square foot development in North Little Rock. We've got Jason's project. And it's good when these parties come and they're competing against Memphis, Oklahoma City, to have space with the tall, clear heights, with the upgraded sprinkler system, with the paved yard, and something that we can compete. I won't speak on the investor side because I'm not involved on the investor side, but to have space like that to compete with other markets is good for Little Rock as a whole. I I think it's pretty known that it's stabilized since these last 24 months. As Jason said, industrial has been the least sexy thing probably for the most of my career, and then these last few, you can't keep space. And then now it just seems like the rates have gotten up to a point, and when I say rates, the rental rates have gotten up to a point where it seems to be stabilized. We're starting to see some space sit just for a little bit, but we still, obviously with the vacancy where it is, it's very healthy.
Let's drift into retail, because retail has been a bright spot, right? Retail is actually is going pretty well, and I think there was the thought coming out of COVID, obviously, that everybody's just going to sit at home and have stuff delivered to them from now on, and so shopping is over and going out is over. But retail suddenly is on a bit of a bounce back. And Hank, you mentioned Breckenridge, but there's lots of projects happening. What's the nature of the comeback and what's driving it?
So, Lance, there's two things going on, and one of those is food and entertainment, and the fact that we all want a quality experience when we go out. Most of us don't long for the opportunity to go to a chain restaurant. Most of us want to go to Trios, Cappy. So, but we want to go to a local proprietor that puts their personality at risk every day, and they deliver the goods on that entertainment experience. On the national chain side, I would tell you, we are seeing impact of interest rate increases on those national retailers, thinking twice before they expand their territory. So there's a little bit of good and bad going on in the retail world, but I can tell you it's a whole lot better than it was the week after COVID. Right. It's just a whole lot better.
Yeah. Lauren, do you have thoughts?
Yeah, I would just say my personal experience in business right now, restaurants are expanding, not just your chains, but you have local restaurant groups who are wanting second and third and fourth locations in different areas, all areas of the state, which just goes to show that more people are getting back out there, and they have higher standards for a night out and going out to eat. They want nice places and they want good experiences. And so I think for a while, restaurants were really suffering following COVID, obviously, because of the mandates placed on the restaurant community, but they're making a real comeback. It's unfortunate some had to close their doors, but those opportunities are there for other restaurants to expand.
Jason, do you have?
Yeah, again, we've seen a lot of uptick in activity in retail recently, and a lot of it is shifting down. You're not seeing Burlington Coat Factory do 90,000 square feet anymore, but they're backfilling a lot of 25,000 square feet. A lot of these Bed Bath & Beyond's gone out of business Tuesday morning, but we're finding those are a little bit smaller footprints that are a little bit more attractive to some of the bigger national retailers, and they're swooping in and grabbing those spaces up just about as quick as you can put them on the market.
Well, Macy's, the big department store chain, is looking at storefront strip mall space now in some places across the country, which is kind of interesting, just changing their setting, I suppose, and maybe to get closer to the customer in some ways. So I guess it feels like there are a lot of things that are sort of long-standing practice that are getting rethought completely from the ground up. Well, let's talk a little bit now about sort of the March 31st tornado. Obviously a huge, residential impact, and we're not residential up here, but we do have a lot of, there was a commercial impact as well, commercial properties, some multifamily, restaurants, retail. So Hank, tell me a little bit about the fallout from that tornado and maybe how things are progressing in terms of the recovery.
Thank you, Lance. It's been substantial. And I know Karen Flake's in the audience, and she's rebuilding a pavilion in the park. That property was hit. Breckenridge Village was hit. We were hit the second time on a little microblast. Fortunately, it was a minor hit, but it has really been a lot harder to deal with the claim process than we ever dreamed it would be. And we've stuck with it. Our insurance company is still there, we think. And so we're working through the claims process. You have to get your feet on the ground with your agent and the company that's writing the coverage before you can just blast into recovery. And if it takes them 4 or 5 months to work through that claim process, you're sitting there trying to tread water as you get clarity on what that is. And so we've gotten beyond that. If you drive by Breckenridge Village, you'll see new roofs on the building, new air conditioners on the building. Our interior work is continuing on now that we're through with that in the dry. But we hope in early spring of 2024, we'll be serving many restaurants to the public there. And if the good Lord is willing, we'll have a theater or some kind of operation there where Regal left. So that the tornado, I underestimated, I admit. I went out there and looked at it afterwards. We had cleanup crews everywhere. I thought, surely in 90 days, we'll have this back where we're back on target. No.
But it's been an insurance situation.
It's been insurance and shortage of labor. And when, now, Lance, there's another side to this, and we have hope and we look for this, and that is any place a natural disaster happens and you have the investment poured into that neighborhood or poured into that community that's being poured into Rodney Parham and 430 right now. You have a recovery cycle that is stimulated by all the work that goes on, and you end up with a cleaner, newer project as a result of that. And the ripple effect of all those contractors being busy, I mean, turning away work, fuels and dribbles down into the economy. So what we're continuing to tell ourselves is this is a road to a better place than we would have been had the tornado not been there.
Okay. Well, we're going to get toward the end here, and I wanted to get some final, I like predictions, and so what we'll do, we're going to ask for predictions, and then in a year from now, we're going to come back and we're going to see who was right and who was wrong. But I'm just going to go down the line. Predictions for office, retail, industrial, kind of wherever you want to roll the dice for 2023 into 2024. And Clark, I'll start with you.
Yeah, sure. I'll hit on some of the office and industrial. I don't touch the retail like these guys as much, other than just eating out myself.
Sure.
But on the office side, I think for the next 12, 18 months, it's going to remain relatively flat. I think we're still seeing in that first cycle. It's hard to believe we're still in the first cycle of a lot of these tenants renewing since COVID. So if they signed a 5-year lease in 2018, 2019, it's coming up, and I think we're in a wait and see game on a lot of those of whether they still need all the space that they're in. So we'll adapt there. On the industrial side, I think, as we've talked about, some of this spec development, having stabilized, slowed down, I still think you'll see a slow and steady positive absorption of that space. It's just, like Jason alluded to, there's just not 50 prospects of needing that kind of space. Those are going to be fewer and far between, but when they're here and they need quality space, those are the ones, there's only a couple options that they can go to. So I just think slower, steady growth on the industrial side. And an office, I think, is going to remain relatively flat. And on top of the office, there's quite a bit of space for sublease right now that doesn't quite reflect in our vacancy. So it's showing is still occupied. So some of that needs to be gobbled up too before real positive absorption takes place on the office side.
Cool. Jason?
Yeah, specifically on industrial, I mean, as I said, I'm pretty bullish on that. I didn't mention earlier, we've seen quite a bit of uptick again in more manufacturing type users looking at the market, looking at different projects we're involved in. So I think, this time next year, you're going to see a handful of pretty good size manufacturing type projects. And, we attribute a lot of the success to that. The guys I referred to earlier, the Arkansas Economic Development Group, Brian Day at the port, Jay Cheshire and his team do a great job recruiting these guys. And then when we get a bite, they do a great job trying to reel them in. We have to have the properties to help them out, but they do a great job making sure that we don't lose out to another state. So I think we'll get some good traction with some of those groups across Central Arkansas. Retail, again, I mentioned, I think we're getting a lot of positive trajectory there. So really bullish on 2024.
And your space at the port will be fully leased and all.
Yes, 100%.
Packed to the gills there.
Yeah, and we'll be building another one.
That's right. There you go. Lauren?
Well, I predict Jason will be able to get that port building filled. But in addition to that, I think we're going to start seeing some creative uses for our vacant properties across town, specifically office buildings. I think we're going to start seeing different ways on how to utilize office space, whether that be converted into residential and apartments, or whether that be turn the first floor of an office building more retail focused. I think we're just going to start seeing some repurposing of the vacancies that we currently have. That also goes to the big retail box stores. You know, for example, the Bed Bath & Beyond, while I know it's refilled, I think we're going to start seeing some of those big box stores be cut in half into thirds, and we're going to start seeing retail companies want smaller spaces, and they're willing to share a roof with these other retail companies. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot of cohabitating with a few businesses. And yeah, I don't see industrial going down as far as need, especially if we all continue to online shop as much as I personally do. We're still going to need, businesses still need warehouses to store product across the US. So while I think we might see less of a need for the really big warehouses, I still think it's hard to find anywhere between 10 to 50,000 square feet right now.
You're telling me that your personal online shopping habits are an economic indicator of the warehouse space we'll need.
It's definitely a plus. I'll leave it at that. It's
Very
a plus.
Good. Good. Okay. Hank?
My predictions would be going back to the downtown study, with that study being rolled out and the engagement that we have, we'll see people recognize the blocks of space in downtown as an extraordinary value. Extraordinary compared to going out and buying a piece of land and building from the ground up. So I do believe that, and I think we'll see if you want to call it a stabilization, but I think you'll see people really starting to have a buzz about our downtown area because of this effort and study that's going on. The second thing I'd like to predict is that our super site acquisition at the port will be completed, and we'll have 1,000 acres to go on the road. As Jason says, we have a phenomenal AEDC department recruitment, but having 1,000-acre super site puts us in the running for a steel mill, an automotive plant. And I think you'll see with Brian Day at the head of the port, Hugh McDonald is the head of AEDC, not directly but indirectly by being Secretary of Commerce. You're going to see an all-out effort to bring a major industrial company into Little Rock, and I hope that happens in 2024.
All right, very good. Okay, we've got time for questions, so if anybody has questions they would like to ask of this panel about anything at all, yes, ma'am.
Kathy, would you like to answer that?
Do you want, let me give you a microphone here so we can, people who are watching and then also just listening.
I'm pretty passionate about this. I live on the Highway 10 corridor and have for a long time, and my business is right there. And I actually brought up at a board meeting a few weeks ago about having a moratorium on vape shops, because there are about 5 and about a third a mile, and car washes. I know there's a place for all of those things. I don't know the answer, but this has been a topic of conversation at the city board level for quite some time. Not only that corridor, but look at what's happening at UA Little Rock. I was there yesterday. So much expansion and construction there, but look at how University Avenue looks. It's a dump, and it's the front door and the back door to our university. I don't have an answer. I'm open to some suggestions, but it is abysmal, and I'm concerned about not just that area, but beyond, and the parcels that are left on Highway 10. I don't know why I looked at Eugene Pfeiffer.
Thank you. Any other questions? Oh, yes.
So y'all mentioned some of the innovations in real estate right now. Can you share any other things that you're seeing, amenities or innovative structures that you're seeing or that clients are asking for to incentivize people to come to Little Rock or to kind of rehome downtown and do those things? What are y'all seeing to attract people back downtown besides just the product sitting there and available?
Free rent. No, I mean, wholeheartedly, I think the landlords are in a real tough spot right now, trying to convince people that their office vacancy is better than the next. Office space is office space. When you just, need somewhere to show up Monday through Friday or Tuesday through Thursday, you care what it looks like to a degree. And so I think it's really in the landlords are driving this conversation with what are they going to provide? How are they going to incentivize businesses? And I'm seeing a lot of free rent or abated rent. Nothing's free. But, if someone wants to sign a 3-year lease, that's 36 months, let's add 3 months onto that and make it a 39-month lease. And the first 3 months, the tenant does not have to pay rent.
Yep.
Incentives.
And I'll speak a little more on just the industrial and the office side of what we've seen is getting the attention. The buildings that I was working on that used 2020 to upgrade common areas, common area conference rooms, or at least implementing a common area conference room that's free of charge to tenants. That's something that I show when I'm showing a building. I show it every time, and it seems to go well. And we've had fitness centers be included as well. On the industrial side, the listings that seem to be attracting the most are the ones that have fenced-in lay-down yard, room for truck docks, room for a truck court. We've seen a real emphasis on yard space, even being included in rental rates. We've always just looked at buildings sometimes and said, hey, $350, $4 a foot rental rate. Now we're even taking into consideration the yard space. If it's a overly large yard compared to the building, we would count for that rent as well. So I know the retail is a little bit different of what was attracting people, but that's what I'm seeing on the office industrial side.
If I could just add, Courtney, one of the things we've tried to do is make the office setting attractive enough where you want to leave your home.
That's right.
We want you to want to leave your home and come to work in our building. That's much of what Clark talked about. It's a workout facility. It's having 4 restaurants on our ground floor. It's having an accordion lease. You know what an accordion is. It grows and shrinks as you need to do so. Flexibility. So those are the things that we're trying to focus on and do so in a way where at the end of the day, people are happy to be in the building.
All right, well, that's about all the time we've got time for. I'm sure this group will be around if you've got questions afterward, but thank you, Hank, Lauren, Jason, Clark, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Lance, Clark, Jason, Lauren, Jason. Well, yes, Jason, you're sitting right here. I don't know why I thought I said something else. And Hank, no, that was fabulous. Vanessa and Cappy, I'll tell you, we actually are thinking we'll probably do a Midtown focused panel in the spring because there is a lot to talk about there, so we'll definitely be addressing that. But thank you guys so much for being here. I've got a little something for all of you because it's a little just desk doodle pad that features our new River Market mural. And it really is about the power of fun and emphasizing that Little Rock has a ton of fun, and you guys definitely contributed to that in bringing new prospects to Little Rock and showing them the amazing things that are happening downtown. So we're happy to add some sparkle to the River Market and a little bit of fun. And you guys stay up here for pictures here in a minute, so thank you. Next week is definitely a not to be missed program, as they all are, right? But this one is definitely going to be a good one. We're talking about the federal farm bill. Our own Ellen Cockrell is going to moderate that. Senator Bozeman will be here. Wes Ward, who's the Secretary of Ag, will be here, and then local farmer Haley Schaffner. It's going to be a really good one. If you are, honestly, if you eat, then you should be engaged with this program because it's going to be, there's a lot going on there too. So thank you so much, and we will see you next week. Oh, quick reminder for the board members, we'll be meeting right after this over at the Rotary office, so we'll see you there. You're adjourned.